When you're looking for a solicitor to deal with your case, you don't just look for any solicitor, you look for the right solicitor. An expert who knows what he's doing can deal with your case the right way, achieving the best results. OBASEKI Solicitors has more than 100 years of specialist experience serving the local community in immigration law, property law, human rights legislation, civil and criminal litigation, family law, employment law, Sharia law, business law, maritime and commercial law, providing professional legal services globally in Africa, Asia and Europe. Be assured we'll be able to deal with your case the absolute right way with results. So, contact us today by phone on 020-7739-7549 or go online at www.legalpal.com. When you're looking for a solicitor to deal with your case, you don't just look for any solicitor, you look for the right solicitor. An expert who knows what he's doing can deal with your case the right way, achieving the best results. OBASEKI Solicitors has more than 100 years of specialist experience serving the local community in immigration law, property law, human rights legislation, civil and criminal litigation, family law, employment law, Sharia law. When you're looking for a solicitor to deal with your case, you don't just look for any solicitor, you look for the right solicitor. An expert who knows what he's doing can deal with your case the right way, achieving the best results. OBASEKI Solicitors has more than 100 years of specialist experience serving the local community in immigration law, property law, human rights legislation, civil and criminal litigation, family law, employment law, Sharia law, business law, maritime and commercial law, providing professional legal services globally in Africa, Asia and Europe. Be assured we'll be able to deal with your case the absolute right way with results. So, contact us today by phone on 020-7739-7549 or go online at www.legalpal.com.
Good evening and welcome to Truth and Justice TV. Thank you for joining us once again. And yes, it started to get a bit chilly in London now, so out come my cardigans. I call them Pauline Fowlers, if any of you used to watch EastEnders. So once you get your cardigan, you know it's that time of the year, autumn. So my name's Dr. Jennifer OBASEKI and you're welcome to another episode of Truth and Justice. And today, we're going to be talking about the very serious topic of women in leadership. Despite the legislation, despite all of the talk that we've seen about Me Too, women are still not seen on the same level as their male counterparts. And why is that? What are the challenges to women, not just ordinarily in everyday working life, but actually to step into the role of management and leadership? What barriers do we face? So we're going to be discussing that this evening. And this evening I have a very wonderful guest for you. Her name is Dion Johnson. Some people know her as Miss Dion Johnson or as a registered nurse, but most of you who know her will know that she's a powerful woman who deals with leadership and also known as a womanologist. Dion Johnson, welcome to Truth and Justice.
Really good to be here with you.
Fantastic. Thank you for honouring the invitation. Yeah. Now, first of all, you've seen the news. You've seen ladies having to talk about their experiences when, you know, even if it's historic, sexual abuse, other inequality, so many barriers for women going up that ladder. Yeah. You could just tell us some of the common issues that women face.
You know, we're new to the marketplace. Still, I love what Dr. Yvonne Thompson says in her book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective Women on Boards. She says that women are like migrants in the marketplace.
Migrants in the marketplace.
Think about that. So, you know, it's been less than 100 years that women have even had a seat at any table in the marketplace at all. It used to be a completely masculine,
male-dominated field.
yeah, it used to be a completely masculine domain. Only men went to work in those offices and those factories and those buildings. And
Wearing the suits.
right, okay. And then what happened? We had a war, and then the women had to roll their sleeves up and get in and, you know,
Correct.
clear the mess up like we do, right? So that's what we did. We went into the marketplace, we rolled our sleeves up, and then we decided, you know what? I like it here. I want to stay here. Some
And
felt
I'm
like
doing well here.
you're doing well.
Yeah.
So, you know, women wanted to stay. Women wanted to have equal rights, equal access. They wanted equal pay. They wanted equal respect. And so we began our fight, didn't we, as women? We began our fight in the marketplace, fighting for our position, fighting for equality, fighting to be taken seriously. And we've been on that fight ever since. We've, you know, equality, women's equality, gender equality is hot news right now to show you that we're still fighting that same fight. And, you know, I have mixed feelings about this fight. Of course we're equal. We are equal. Men and women are equal. So we'll just get that right.
Some people will dispute that though.
Yeah.
Many women feel that they have to be subservient. They feel that sometimes they even feel the good book tells them to be subservient.
Yeah.
And they feel that they have to take a step in the shadows or a step back.
You know, I don't think the Bible says be subservient. I think it says be submitted.
Submissive
You know,
to your husband.
Submitted is
Submitted.
So, yes, it's
not
such
submissive.
It's such a different thing. Like, you know, the way that I see leadership is that there needs to be a head, and I believe that God has ordained the patriarchy. I don't think what we're seeing right now is patriarchy. I see what we're seeing right now is fake patriarchy, or, you know, of egotistical, greedy, controlling, misogynistic.
One of my favourite words, misogynistic.
Right, I think we're seeing that kind of leadership, and that's not really the good book's intention. I think that there was supposed to be a head in leadership. You need to be a head. God assigned it to the patriarchy, to men, and we've seen that abused deeply. We've seen that deeply abused, and women responding to centuries of oppression and depression and submission and real bad treatment from our leaders, our men, who are supposed to be nurturing us and helping us to come into our own.
So what would you say to that woman who sits down, she's in her workplace, she knows her worth. She knows that she's bringing in a good amount of revenue to that company. She feels somehow that she's been overlooked for promotion, and maybe she's having her second child. What would you say to that woman?
See, I speak to that woman every day. I speak to women who are, in my work, I speak to women who are driven, who want to make a difference, who know that they've got something valuable to contribute.
Mm-hmm.
So these women are on the grind. They want to be taken seriously, and they're pushing. And it's so demoralising, isn't it, when there's these personal pushbacks and these power struggles and the isms and schisms that really serve to hold women back. But what I've come to understand is that, well, let me explain it to you this way. One day I was having an argument with a school friend.
Okay.
This years ago, having an argument with a school friend. She wasn't really a friend; she was a girl at school, and she was so angry with me. She was red-faced, you know, really outraged. She was getting angrier and angrier, and she said, "You," and you could see she was thinking of what to call me to hurt me, and she said, "You black girl."
Oh, is that all?
And, you know, I thought to myself, if you want to hurt me, you need to say something else, because, you know, I didn't attach that name to a negative. You see, I didn't attach it to a negative. And so it taught me something really powerful. But if somebody is accusing you or calling you a name and it's hurting, it's because somewhere inside of you there's a resonance with what they're saying, you know? It's touching something in you. She called me black girl, and it didn't touch a painful place in me, so it didn't affect me. It didn't pull me down. It didn't tear me.
But the thing is, when somebody attaches you being a woman with you not being able to perform, That's where I think there's that level of unconscious bias
Yeah.
within management or within the misogynistic mindset.
Yeah.
For example, the lady that I gave that's on her second child, and her boss maybe not putting her up for promotion.
Yeah.
She would be suffering from unconscious bias because the boss is not looking at the performance. The boss is looking at, oh, she's a woman and she's pregnant again. So therefore automatically assuming she's not going to be able to maintain her batting average like her male counterparts.
I don't for 1 minute want to sit here and say to anyone that misogynism or oppression of women or bias and unconscious biases or conscious biases are not real. They are real. But if we're talking about how we move forward, I think we need to come away from pointing to what exists and pointing to how it is, and think about where do we go from here? Like, how do we move it on? And for that, I believe that we as women need to be driving that, and we as women need to look at how we have, how we've been complicit in creating what we have so far. That's our role. We can't change what they do right now. What we can do is change what we're creating, because we're co-creators. We're not victims, we're co-creating our experiences. And I really believe that it's time for us to wake up. So this morning I was having an amazing conversation with somebody who's doing some really powerful work in the Netherlands with women. We're thinking about getting together for a joint venture, and I said to her, what's the challenge? Why is it that women are struggling so hard to be respected and to be taken seriously and to lead from their feminine energy? She called it feminine energy. I said, what is it that's blocking us? And she said, she talked about the misogynism, and she talked about all the oppression and the biases and so on. And I said, so why is that? And she said, what? We've allowed it. We've allowed it to happen. At the end of the day, we have we've allowed it. I was a midwife, and I know about women. That's why they call me the womanologist. I know about the power of woman. I know that if a woman sets her mind to something, I know that if we believe something, or if we see the cause in something, like, that thing is about to happen. Like, we know how to make things happen. We know how to change things, to manage things, to lead things. We are multi-talented and powerful.
Indeed.
I've seen.
It's a woman that knows how to multitask, and not just in the boardroom, but in the bedroom, in the kitchen, in the sitting room. I understand that.
And I think that, that in the bedroom is a really important place. And we know our power in the bedroom. We know our power in sexual, intimate relationships. We know our power with our children and in the nursery. We know our power in the church hall. But we have yet to really understand and take that power, innovate that power for the boardroom. And I think that's what I'm excited about in this season, where woman and leadership and gender is hot news. I think it's heralding in a reawakening of us remembering
value,
our power, and remembering who we are and our differences, and how we can take those differences and make a difference in the boardroom. We're leading a world that we're handing over to the next generation, our children. We're leading a world that we're growing old in. And do we like it? Well, I don't think we do. I don't think we like what we're creating in industry right now, because women are telling me they're coming and they're crying, they're hurting, they're not satisfied, they're dissatisfied, and we want more.
I know. I definitely want more. As a mother of 3 girls, I definitely want more.
Yeah.
Now, I understand what you're saying, that we're part of what we have created.
Yeah.
However, most people would sort of appreciate the struggle that women have with the lack of equality, but the additional struggles that women of ethnic minorities have. Not just women of ethnic minorities, migrant women then have. We look at these challenges, and then we sit down and say, okay, how can, for example, a migrant girl child accelerate to being the head of the boardroom? That pathway for her is full of hurdles.
Yeah.
It's hurdles of discrimination because of her race. It's hurdles of discrimination because of her nationality or ethnicity. Then it's full of hurdles because of her sex, the fact that she's female. Then you have to think about the economic challenges that such a young girl may be facing, which may be challenges towards financing her education. So we look at these hurdles, and as much as you say we're part of what we create, these hurdles are real.
Yeah.
So breaking down those barriers, we should be able to rely on legislation, but it's not easily adhered to by many managers, let's say. So as a female in the workplace, we should be able to rely on certain things like flexible working. We should be able to rely on the Equal Pay Act to make sure that we're being paid the same as our counterparts. But these bits of legislation, as I say, are not always easily adhered to. And the fact that we're leaving the European Union again makes me very concerned for many women, because in reality the European Court of Justice has made it clear that part-time workers, females, should be paid equally. Do you have any fears from the UK leaving the European Union about women's rights being protected going forward?
I think that women's rights have in the so say from the late 70s right up until now, the UN, the EU, everyone is talking woman, everyone is talking recognising
The female empowerment, rights for,
recognising
yeah,
rights for women, human rights. It was Hillary Clinton, wasn't it, that
Yes.
that linked women's rights with human
Beijing,
rights.
yeah.
So there's a lot of attention happening, and that's signalling that something is changing. But I come back to it all the time, like laws, legislation, lobbying, all of that is good stuff, and it needs to happen, it needs to continue. But my experience as the womanologist, as a strategic ally to women behind the mask, my work is not in front of, on the coal face in front. My work is identity work. My work is behind the mask with intimate work with women who want to find new ways forward. And I can't say anything. I really believe that the way forward, the way over these hurdles, is to reframe these hurdles, reframe the scary situations, reframe the hindrances, the biases, the things that are coming at us, reframe them like weights. See them as weights that you lift when you want to develop a muscle, or when you want to develop your influence, when you want to be taken seriously. These hurdles can become the springboard from which you grow as an influencer. It's not impossible, but we have to first reframe ourselves.
So, from what I can gather, you're saying it's about reprogramming your mindset, making sure that you're starting on a positive. Yes, the hurdles are there. Believe me, they're there. I'm one who can tell you how many hurdles I've climbed.
All of us. Yeah.
But the fact is, we have to start from a positive mindset and have it in the mind that we are going to scale those hurdles. If we sit down and say, "Oh, those are hurdles. We're not going forward. Can't go anymore," then immediately we've lost.
Yeah.
We've lost the whole race. We've lost the debate. If we sit down and say, because of the hurdle, I'm not going forward. But if it's a case of, there's the hurdle, I know I'm going to scale that and keep running, then we're halfway through.
No, actually, like really knowing why, like what that's for. Today I was talking with somebody who asked me about this, and I shared with her a conversation that I had a couple of years ago with a woman who approached me from middle America. She approached me because she wanted coaching. She explained about the pushbacks. She explained about the power struggles that she was facing. She explained that she was in a very male-dominated environment, and that she wanted to make partner, but there was a lot of pushback. She was experiencing a lot of oppression in her workplace. And she said that, she was really angry and she was really gritty, and she was talking about she's going to make it, whether by the hook or by the crook. She was going to get to partner in 2 years, and she was going to push and press, and she was going to fight, and she wanted help to just fight this system. So I said to her, okay, tell me, why do you want partner? Why do you want this fight? Why do you want to push for partner?
And what was her response? She didn't have a valid response.
She didn't know why.
She just wanted to attain it, to
Yeah.
attain it, to attain it.
Yeah, and some of us are
Very
really,
important to
some of
know
us are really
your
pushing
values and
Yeah.
know your true self.
Caught
Knowing
up
your
in-
true self and being confident in your true self is half of winning the race, by the way. So once you know who you are and be honest about what your desires and your needs are, then you're halfway there. But if you're saying you just want something because it's a title, you just want
because
to have
that's
that
what
title.
the picture that
Or that's the narrative, the masculine narrative
the
told her
masculine
to
narrative about
attain.
what that looks like. So you know, I think that we have to just keep saying that we just have to keep reining it back and just get a mirror and a spotlight. That's what I say to my clients: get a mirror and a spotlight, and just stop a minute and just question. You know, what is this really all about? Who am I? What does it mean to be a woman, and how does that look in the what's the point of that in the marketplace? If we stop and ask those questions, which is what I do, the work that I do with my clients, then we come up with some really new narratives around women in leadership.
That's fantastic. Now, for those of you who might be just tuning in, please, it's about women in leadership. Some of the barriers we may face, how to scale those barriers, and we'd like to hear from you. So anybody who wants to call in, please have your questions ready. I'm just about to get the studio number, which is coming. I never seem to remember it. It's 0203. In short, let's take a break and then I will come back with the studio number ready for your call-ins. But you can check on the Facebook page, Truth and Justice. You should see the number there, or on my Facebook wall. So see you in 2 minutes.
When you're looking for a solicitor to deal with your case, you don't just look for any solicitor, you look for the right solicitor. An expert who knows what he's doing can deal with your case the right way, achieving the best results. OBASEKI Solicitors has more than 100 years of specialist experience serving the local community in immigration law, property law, human rights legislation, civil and criminal litigation, family law, employment law, Sharia law, business law, maritime and commercial law, providing professional legal services globally in Africa, Asia and Europe. Be assured we'll be able to deal with your case the absolute right way with results. So, contact us today by phone on 020-7739-7549 or go online at www.legalpal.com.
Thank you for joining us again, and we're talking about women in leadership. So before we go forward, I just want to give you the studio number again, which is 0203 7959 485. So that's 0203 7959 485, and it should be on the screen. So if you have some questions, you're not getting what you want within your workplace, you're not sure about how to deal with a certain situation, whether you want to climb up your professional career ladder, feel you have some barriers, call in, let's give you some tips. Many of you may know that I'm known as Mum on the Run. I'm known as Mum on the Run because I'm either running to my kids or running away from my kids. And this evening, sadly, we started a little bit late because I'm playing Florence Nightingale at the moment, as a few of them have a little bit of health issues. Now, that's one of the challenges that I face as a single parent, running work, kids, the juggle, it keeps going. But part of that, I must say, I do enjoy the energy, the adrenaline that it does give me. I am a problem solver. I actually don't think that I can do a day sitting down at home. I get quite irritated. My mind goes to work. My mind goes to clients. My mind goes to projects. So that's just me. I know that's my truth. I know I'll feel frustrated at home. I also know that personally I can't fit into a formal work environment. I like to work for myself. I like to work in a multifaceted, multidimensional manner, and that's not very easy for many managers to accept. I also like to work flexibly. some managers have realized that that formal 9 to 5 sitting behind a desk era is dying out. Now we have 0 hour contracts, and we have a lot of flexible working. We have a lot of people that are self-employed. So the actual dynamics in the workplace, the job market, is changing. And that's changing because of the generation that's coming up, the digital age. So these factors also actually sort of either clash with you as a woman and your roles and duties at home, or you actually learn how to juggle with it and excel and do very well. It's very difficult. Many women are still sort of in their mindset of, I want to go and do a 9 to 5 and just climb the ladder. And many of them haven't embraced the digital revolution. What would you say to a woman that's a bit scared of the digital age and the digital revolution?
I understand. It's a big, huge difference between the way that we grew up and the way that children are growing up now and the way that technology is going. It's a huge difference. And in any generation, when the new thing comes out, there are always people who take a little longer to adapt and to embrace what's happening. But you know, it's here.
It's here, and it's here to stay.
And it really, and it goes back to, you know, your why. It goes back to what your purpose is, what your mission is. If you've got a mission that needs you to keep up with the times, then guess what? We just need to keep up with the times.
Keep up with the times.
Yeah.
Embrace it. Go for training. Train online. See how you can actually improve your skills. Don't get left behind. I'm saying to some of my own clients, you know, post-Brexit, because of the changes in the workplace, because some firms are not sure whether to invest in staff, firms are doing a lot of automation. It's a case of you've got to stay relevant. Yeah. As a woman, staying relevant in your workplace is also a very, very important thing. Yeah. You not just about trying to climb the ladder. I want to climb the ladder. You don't appreciate me. Are you staying relevant within your field? And how does a woman stay relevant?
It's really, really powerful question, because honestly, that's what I spend my time teaching, is that, you know, like we were talking about earlier on, the biases, all of those things are real.
The discrimination, the biases, they're there.
But I say to a woman, be undeniable.
Wow, I love that.
Be impossible to ignore. And the way that you do that is just like you've been saying, to get relevant, you know, to think about what is the mission here and what do I bring to this mission? What do I know that nobody else knows? And start to showcase that. Problem with us is that we don't like to showcase ourselves.
Yes.
We don't like to blow our own trumpets. We don't like to speak up.
Very,
we
very
don't know.
hard thing.
And sometimes we struggle to
articulate
our truest thoughts, because it's scary to share something new, or, you know, something nuanced. But this is exactly what influence is. Leadership is influence, and influence is a capacity to help people to see things in a new way, your way.
So be undeniable.
Yeah.
I love that. It means that if you're in a workplace and you're not there, they miss you. They know that, oh, she would have been able to resolve that. Oh, she knows that. Oh, so you've got to be somebody who knows your game and is ahead of your game. Yeah. And by doing that, you've got to stay relevant, you've got to stay undeniable, have your training, be on top of everything. And that's a hard thing. And be you at the same time. If it's not you, you're not comfortable with it, you know it ain't right. If you're not comfortable with it, it ain't working. I'm not saying force yourself. And that's where knowing your truth becomes essential. You know, we go into different fields because we're passionate and we're good at the things. We have the skill set to be there. Yeah. But when it starts feeling uncomfortable, starts making you feel stressed, depressed, it might be time for a change. It might be time to scale up. But it's something that you have to be truthful to yourself about. Now, we have been talking about your different training and things that you've been teachings that you've been talking about.
Yeah.
So tell us more about you, Dion Johnson.
They call me the womanologist.
I heard that. Now, I sat down and said womanology.
Yeah.
What did I miss that subject at school?
So one of my clients called me that, and I really like it. It's stuck. I decided that I'm going to keep it. But you know, throughout my whole career, I started my career in healthcare, and then I went into local government, and now I own my own business. But throughout the whole of my career, the constant themes have been leadership and women. So I was a midwife for many years. I believe that I was born to be alongside women
Wow.
who are going
Powerful.
through challenges, who are being stretched, who are transitioning, evolving and growing and developing, whether that be in my early days from no children to mother, pregnant to mother, transferring through that process, or growing as a leader, or being a leader and evolving as a change maker. So any woman that's going through the evolution and growing, that's kind of where I was born to be. It's my place in the world.
So you feel that's your calling in life, to help
Yeah.
women who are having challenges, women who are going through periods where they might feel a bit stretched,
Yeah.
a bit confused, and that's what your consultancy. What's the name of
Yeah.
your consultancy?
Woman Leader Global.
Woman Leader Global.
Yeah,
That's lovely.
yeah.
So if people want to find you,
Yeah.
Dion Johnson, how do they find
You
you?
can find me at email is always the best way to look at. You can find me online just through all of the channels at Dion Johnson. But to connect with me, and I love to connect with women, then connect at dionjohnson.com is the way that you find me.
Fantastic. Now, nobody's been calling in. I think that our viewers are a little bit shy. The number is on the screen. But generally, if you find that you're the victim of inequality in the workplace, you have rights. Number one, as I've said, the legislation is there. None of your counterparts should be paid more than you. None of them should be having unequal terms as you. I think I can raise the BBC case. If you remember, there was a reporter who realised she was being paid about a fourth than what her male counterparts were being paid, and it then exposed the inequalities within the BBC between male and female presenters' salaries. And up until today, it shook the core. Since it's a public body, it was quite a scandal. We then look at places like the government bodies, such as the NHS. Again, you sort of have the comparisons of foreign female doctors and consultants and their Caucasian English counterparts and the difference in salary. I must say that if you are experiencing any of these things, please seek help. You can come to OBASEKI solicitors. Our number is also being shown during the break. On another point, as a woman, you should be able to opt as a parent for flexible working conditions. If these are not being reviewed properly by your management when they're put through, then you can easily raise a grievance. If you've been working in a place for more than 2 years, it's something that you should consider. You should have your solid grounds quite clearly. Look at your contract, look at the terms and conditions. But even if the rights are excluded from the terms and conditions within your contract, they're there in legislation, so they're there to protect you. I do worry, and I've always said about women's rights and the protection post-Brexit, and I've raised this with government, so I'll keep you informed how that goes along. I've spoken to different MPs and different ministers, especially the shadow cabinet as well, as to what they're doing to make sure that protections for women's rights actually stay in place post-Brexit. Now, as we kind of wind down towards the end of the show, what 3 points, because our listeners have had a lot of information, what 3 points would you like them to leave with?
So if you are that woman that there are a couple of scenarios I want you to consider. I want you to consider that you're the woman that's going through a real power struggle. You're going through real isms and schisms and politics and politricks at work, and you're really wanting to do more. You're wanting to get out of the pain and out of the squabbles and start doing what you're in that role to do. You want to make a difference. You care about the people that your organisation serves, and you want to make a difference. Or you are just simply, maybe you've become a bit complacent in your role, and you kind of found your little comfortable place, your comfortable spot, and you're punching below your weight. To both of you, both those situations, I would say that we really need you to up your leadership game. You can get support to go through all the processes to handle your particular issue, but when all that is said and done, you really need to be thinking about who you are and what you bring to any organization. You need to build your brand as a woman of influence. Be undeniable as an influencer. So the first thing that you need to do with that is to get really radically self-aware. You need to be thinking about what you particularly, you uniquely bring to the table. And then you need to ask yourself, what's relevant about me? Like, how does who you are, your story, your gifts, your talents, how do those things make you absolutely, undeniably the woman for the job? You see, if you are the woman for the job and you know it, and you begin to tell people about how you are the woman for the job, yeah, you have to tell them. You have to tell them why you're the one for the job and why you're worth what you're worth,
Exactly.
and why you're demanding what you're demanding. Then as you begin to do that, then they can't argue with the facts. You have to create the evidence that you are relevant for the work. And then the third thing that I so often we don't talk about is I call respect. You need to respect your truth, respect yourself, respect the people that you work with, and respect the mission. You need to respect, you need to grow. I call it deep honor. You need to master the art of honoring, because then you see, someone once told me one hand can't clap.
Oh,
You know, and
that's a Jamaican phrase.
right.
I know that one.
So oftentimes what happens is when there's all this isms and schisms and there's no honour and no respect, what happens is one biased hand comes and then a retaliation hand comes, and and all we're doing is clapping and fighting. Whereas when you develop honour, what happens is the biased hand comes, but the honour stops you from going in with a one-upmanship game.
Exactly.
You're over here asking, how do we stay true to this mission? How do we get the results that I want to see? How do I change his mind? How do I move things along? You see, these three things are crucial, I believe, for us to redefine who we are as influencers in the marketplace.
Well, thank you so much, John Johnson. I'm very grateful for you being our guest today. I hope that you've taken away a lot of the benefits from the conversation. Number one, the law's there to protect you. Number two, know your truth. Very important. Key for you moving onwards and upwards. Number three, stay relevant. And then, again, honour and respect in the workplace, yourself, knowing where you are in the whole mix and moving upwards and onwards and upwards. Now,
can I just say, before we wrap up, that all sounds really nice, but it's really hard for us to work out what that all means for us, particularly, like we've got these patterns of thinking, and sometimes what we really need is for a fresh perspective. What we really need to see things in different ways, and that's why it's really important to get help, get support,
and support.
Be supported in your leadership.
Okay.
No athlete would ever think about running a marathon without a coach. No midwife or doctor would ever set up shop without being trained and supported and continue to be supported. Don't do this alone.
Okay, now thank you so much once again. Thanks for joining us. We're going to see you next week, and next week we're going to be talking about property, buying and selling property in the UK and abroad, what you should be made aware of. And if you're a lady and you've benefited from today or you have questions, please contact us on the page. Don't be afraid to take credit. Don't be afraid to step into the limelight. You are who you are. Stay relevant, stay beautiful, and I'll see you next week. And if you've got to be good, you know what I say, you've got to be good, and if you can't be good, be careful. Thank you very much. Take care.
When you're looking for a solicitor to deal with your case, you don't just look for any solicitor, you look for the right solicitor. An expert who knows what he's doing can deal with your case the right way, achieving the best results. OBASEKI Solicitors has more than 100 years of specialist experience serving the local community in immigration law, property law, human rights legislation, civil and criminal litigation, family law, employment law, Sharia law, business law, maritime and commercial law, providing professional legal services globally in Africa, Asia and Europe. Be assured we'll be able to deal with your case the absolute right way with results. So, contact us today by phone on 020-7739-7549 or go online at www.legalpal.com. When you're looking for a solicitor to deal with your case, you don't just look for any solicitor, you look for the right solicitor. An expert who knows what he's doing can deal with your case the right way, achieving the best results. OBASEKI Solicitors has more than 100 years of specialist experience serving the local community in immigration law, property law, human rights legislation, civil and criminal litigation, family law, employment law, Sharia law, business law, maritime and commercial law, providing professional legal services globally in Africa, Asia and Europe. Be assured we'll be able to deal with your case the absolute right way with results. So, contact us today by phone on 020-7739-7549 or go online at www.legalpal.com.